We're in for a treat. As you know, our speaker is James Scotty Scott. We have been delighted and inspired for years with James's humorous, insightful, and soul-provoking poetry. James is a Unity minister. Scotty is a Unity minister. He has devoted himself to being of service to fellow sojourners for many years. We are grateful he is with us today, and let's give him a big fellowship welcome.
Well, it's good to be back. Man, all kinds of weird stuff going on. But that's the world, you know? If you ever want to talk about the bad news, there's always going to be bad news to talk about. If you want to talk about good news, there's good news to talk about. There's just unusual things that go on all the time. My talk title today, Bruce called me up and said, I need a speaker for Father's Day. Can you do it? And I looked at my schedule. I said, yes, I can. He said, great. What's your talk title? Bruce doesn't really beat around the bush on these things. So I did my best to connect with the universe by eating a piece of chocolate very quickly. And said to myself, okay, I got it. I said, Bruce, it's Father's Day, right? So we need a father title. Okay, my talk title is Papa Mau Mau. And he said, really? I said, yes. He said, what's it going to be about? I said, Father's Day. So before I do my talk, I'd like to tell you about something that happened to me recently that has nothing to do with Father's Day or my talk, but is kind of the front part. This is the prologue, or epilogue, or whatever log it happens to be. I was staying out of town recently, and I don't know, the universe is an abundant place, and sometimes you get abundance in the oddest ways. I was staying out of town recently, and I checked into a hotel about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and went immediately down to my room, and immediately into the bathroom, which is a good thing to do after a road trip, you know. So, as I'm sitting there contemplating the universe, I hear a key in the door of my room. It's not like I could get up and run. And the door opens, and a lady lets out a small scream and says, oh my God, there's somebody in there. And the door closed and she left. Of course, I have no idea who this person was. But I figured she had to be hotel staff because she got into the room. So as I'm going out to get more stuff out of the car, somebody at the front desk says, are you the gentleman in 104? I went, yes. We'd like to offer you an apology. Now by this time, evidently, the entire front desk staff knew what had happened. And they were all saying, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. Can we buy you dinner tonight? I said, no, I've already got dinner plans, thank you very much. Well then, if it's okay with you, we'll comp you the room.
Wow.
I looked at the bill and it was $230, including tax, for that room. I went, okay. And immediately I started to think, you know, this wouldn't be much of a deal at a hotel, Motel 6 or something, you know. But I wonder if you could start somehow booking rooms into hotels and trying to find somebody to walk in on you right after you got there and end up with, you know, the Ritz-Carlton, the this, the that, staying for free in rooms all over the world, you know. And we're just so sorry, it'll never happen again. I'm thinking, you know, if you want to pop in right after while I'm in the bathroom and then give me a $200 a night hotel room, I'm not upset. Please, pop in anytime. So, okay, so now let's get to my topic. Papa Mau Mau. So first off, happy Father's Day to all. It's an important thing, and it's important to celebrate Father's Day for everyone, because to some extent we are all a father to someone as part of our lives. We do that. Same thing with Mother's Day. We all parent someone or something. We have now. What is your dog's name again? Chloe. Chloe is here. When you get a pet, that's a family member. I mean, people who lose pets along the way grieve as much as anyone who loses their own child along the way. This is a member of your family. And so, to some extent, we are a father, a papa, to somebody, somewhere along the way during our lives. And sometimes we have multiple experiences of this, and sometimes only one that we can focus on for a lot. So, now, when I thought about doing something about Father's Day, I thought, well, what music would you come up with that might bring up memories of Father's Day? I couldn't think of a lot. There are so many Mother's Day songs out there and so many Mama songs out there. It's like, how many Father's Day songs are there? And I like the quote about Father's Day is like Mother's Day, except you don't spend as much. And it's true. I mean, for a mom, you go out. I mean, I don't know what the floral sales are on Father's Day. I know it's big for Mother's Day. You're going out, okay, Mom, this is my mom. I'm spending, $300 for, what? Dad, I'm going to pull a couple of dandelions out of the yard and hand them to him. Happy Father's Day, thank you. So, but I thought, what father's songs could I think of? And for whatever reason, the first one that came to mind was Papa Don't Preach by Madonna. Now, I'm not sure why that came to my mind first. And then I thought about Bruce in a Madonna outfit, and I said, I just don't think it's just going to work well. But Papa Don't Preach, first off, is not a good song to do in a church, because it's not a great sentiment in a church. Somebody's going to preach. That's just the way church is. So it's not a good thing to sing Don't Preach in a church. So the next song that came to mind was Papa Was a Rolling Stone by the Temptations. Now this is a guy who's on the move constantly. So, and it's not an accurate song unless you're like, you're the son of Mick Jagger. Then you could sing Papa Was a Rolling Stone. So, and then I went into the Wayback Machine, and I came up with, and some of you are not going to have any idea about this song, Daddy Don't You Walk So Fast by Wayne Newton. In fact, it was the single biggest hit of Wayne Newton's career. Was Daddy. And if you're not familiar with it, this father decides he's leaving his family and he's walking to the train station, and his daughter is running up behind him singing Daddy Don't You Walk So Fast. This is like Christmas shoes at Christmas time, where the songwriter expects you to be fully in tears by the time this song is over with. So, and then the next one, then a couple of very, very obscure ones. I see that one was at least a hit record. This was a little hit record by an Italian-American singer named Lou Monte. And the only reason anybody these days knows Lou Monte is that a couple of years ago, one of his songs, and this was a guy from the 50s, one of his Christmas songs suddenly started getting a whole lot of airplay all over the country. It was Dominic the Donkey. And so Lou Monte, though, had a minor hit with a song called Mama Get the Hammer, There's a Fly on Papa's Head. See, the papas just don't get a whole lot of affection when you go to talk about papas. Then of course there's the title song of today's talk, Papa Mau Mau, which was by the Rivingtons, and I think it's got to be a very cosmic, very metaphysical song. So I want to remind you of some of the lyrics so that you can meditate on these later, and let this work into your system, because I know there's power in this song. The verse goes, I say, hey there, partner, what's your name? Now, don't you dare tell me the same old thing. The words you sing I can't figure out, but you've got a sound makes me stomp and shout. Papa mau mau, Papa mau mau. Papa, 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 Papa mau mau. So I invite you to meditate on that later in the day and see what you come up with. Now lastly, and this is the only song I will actually sing today, I had an album once called An Evening with Groucho. And it was recorded by Groucho Marx at the age of 85. And they talked, something came up about fathers, and he mentioned that he and his brothers used to sing a song on Father's Day to their father, and it was called Father's Day. And of course, once you're Groucho and you do that, then everybody's going, sing the song! And he sang it. And I thought I would give you guys the treat of my voice on Father's Day, singing what the 85-year-old Groucho Marx sang to his audience that night. Today, Father, is Father's Day, and we're giving you a tie. It's not much you know, it is just our way of showing you we think you're a regular guy. We know you didn't want to be a bother. You know you didn't want us to make a fuss. But according to our mother, you're our father, and that's good enough for us. Yes, that's good enough for us. Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. So people have different feelings about mothers and fathers, and Mother's Day and Father's Day, as people have learned to release their emotions, have become interesting holidays because some people did not have a good relationship with their biological parents. And so on Father's Day, for some people, it's not a lot to celebrate. Same way with on Mother's Day. And so, but you take a look, and you look back around the 50s and 60s especially, was where we get our ultimate opinion of what a father was supposed to be. And in those days, most of the time, the father was the breadwinner and went out, made the money, and brought it home. And the mother virtually did everything else in the household. Raising the kids, cleaning the house, cooking the meals. Anything that happened because mom did it. And when Dad came home, he came home enough to sit down, relax, eat a meal, and go to sleep. The interesting thing was the bonds then between the kids and a parent became bonds between the kids and the mother. The father was home and awake for a solid 1 to 2 hours tops. Didn't really relate to the kids very much. And wondered how come he felt so out of touch. You know, they looked like they were growing up before his eyes. Well, they were. But the issue was he was never home to see it or talk to them about it. So I had the unusual situation as a child. There were 4 of us kids, and both of my parents worked. So I saw them almost an equal amount, which in the 50s and 60s was an odd thing to do. You didn't usually have that shift in which parent was where. So the mothers were the ones that everybody bonded with. I remember you often didn't know anything about your father other than what he sounded like when he ate dinner. You know, my dad was a bodybuilder at home. He didn't go to a gym. He had barbells and all. And he worked out. And I didn't know how strong he actually was. You know, I knew what it felt like when he decided to put his hand on my backside. That was one of the big threats, too. If I did something wrong, my mother would, whack me one, or any of us, But the big one was, I'm not going to spank you right now. I'm going to let your father do that when he comes home. Oh, that was torture. Because if that happened around noon, you had to wait 5-6 hours. I remember I started crying at 12:30 that day. Cried until he got home. And he got home, put his stuff down, came in. I'm still crying. And he walks in and he closes the bedroom door. I understand you've been bad. Yeah, I'm still crying. He said, there's not much more I can do to you. If you've been crying since you got told, he said, I can't make you feel any worse. So go out and tell them I spanked you. I don't feel like putting in the energy, and I can't make you feel any worse about what you did. So this is just between the two of us, but let's pretend I spanked you and we're done. Okay. That never happened again. I mean, I don't remember him ever spanking me again, but I just remember that was a wonderfully odd occurrence, and I saw a side of my dad that I had never seen. So, and another time that something happened that I didn't realize about my father was, again, the bodybuilder thing. He was stronger than I realized. We went to a school fair one time, and one of the little setup things was you lined up and you put your name down on a slip of paper, and you were number 43 or whatever you were, and they gave you a softball, and you had to throw it. That was pretty easy. Throw the softball. And by the end of the day, whoever had thrown the softball the farthest won whatever the prize was. And it was like $10, $20, something. My dad got up, and I'm just so used to seeing my dad had biceps. Like you go, ooh, I want those, you know. And he reared back and threw that softball. And I didn't even see where it landed. But behind him, everybody else got out of line. I went, that was pretty cool. So there were a few times, and then near the end of his life, even though he was a bodybuilder and his body was in amazing shape into his 60s, he had also been a smoker since he was 17. And it got to him. He and his three brothers all died in age order over a 5-year span, all from effects of the smoking that they had. And each one something different. You know, there was emphysema, cancer, strokes, and other things. But they all, each, in the first one went, second, and they all went in that order. And and I remember I was very angry with him after he died for about 3 or 4 months. I said, how dare you? You took care of every physical part of your body except your lungs. How long would you have been on this planet with us if you had taken care of your lungs too? Because you took care of everything else. You took care of us. So it was interesting. But yeah, so with fathers, you always looked at, and yeah, the fathers were always the ones in the TV sitcoms who were so out of touch, had no idea what was going on. And the thing was that it could happen in real life too, because the dad could come in and get blustery. You know, I wear the pants in this family. Well, yeah, maybe. You know, you just never knew. But, you know, I demand that this go on. When I put my foot down, I expect it to be heard. What? I'm supposed to hear your foot? So, and he just, you know, it was one of those things where, and then you knew as soon as he was out of the house, Mom would go, okay, whatever your dad just said, ignore it. Because, see, that's what can happen when you aren't as in touch with anything, including yourself. You may say something or think something and go, that's important, that's impressive. And then as soon as you turn your back or you go to do, things happen that are really silly. That's when real power kicks in. And you know who's in charge and who's doing what. So there are times in your life when elements of who you are at your core get blustery. And then when that blustery part fades away, then the rest of you says, okay, now let's get something done. So now Jesus, and this is one of my favorite things, Jesus, when he started the Lord's Prayer, used the word in Aramaic, Abba. And Abba is father, technically, but I was taught by a wise man, Tom Baker, whom many of you know, that Abba is Papa, that it's not father like a demanding, dominant father. It's Papa. And whenever Tom says that, Tom puts his little half smile on his face, it softens his voice, and gets him closer to the microphone and goes, Papa. And you go, oh, thanks, that felt good, you know. And then a guy named Rocco Errico, who is Unity's leading Aramaic scholar, has come through the Renaissance 2 or 3 times. And he said, I take it even further than that, because Abba is a word you give to someone whom you have deep, deep trust in. And you know that they have deep, deep trust in you. So it's not just a kidding around word. He said, it is possible to call a female in your household Abba. And if you do, they know that you trust them so much. You trust them with who you are. And they trust you to have their back. And I went, oh, that is good. So he said, I often, even though it's not a correct translation, I often use the word beloved as a space holder for Abba. And so now whenever I pray, I don't do, Mother, Father, God, or this, or, little green guy with 12 arms or whatever. I do beloved God. Because it takes all of the physical pictures out of my image of God. But I trust God implicitly to be at my core, to guide me, to take me wherever. So Abba, thank you. Now recently there was an Abba example on national television. If any of you follow NCIS, it was Tony DiNozzo's last episode. And Ziva, who had been on it before, had just been killed. And they call Tony in, and they bring this little 3-year-old in. And they say, Tony, this is Ziva's daughter. And she also happens to be your daughter. And you have never known about her. Ziva did not want you to know about her. Just because she wanted you. And there's a danger for the two of you if somebody knew she was around. So this little girl is there, and Tony's dad is there, Robert Wagner, great character. So he's there, and as Tony and Robert Wagner are working with this girl, talking to her and sharing with her, Robert Wagner says, I found this photo in Ziva's luggage outside of where the explosion was. And it was a picture of Ziva and Tony. And the little girl pats her mom in the picture, and she says, I mean, which is Hebrew for mama. And Tony's talking to his dad, and he says, you know what? I don't know if this girl knows who I am. I don't know if Ziva has told her that I existed. At some point she'll figure out she has a biological father. He said, but I have absolutely no idea if this girl knows why I'm sitting here with her today. And the little girl pats Tony on the picture and says, Abba. And I went looking for a box of Kleenex as fast as I possibly could, because this little girl knew who he was, and what she had been told about him said, I trust you. I love you. And I went, wow, that's pretty cool. With just one word. And it's the opening words of the Lord's Prayer. But it's who you are too. You have to know that the God that is within you is your Papa, your Abba. But you have to know that that's you. That you and God are not two separate entities, each waiting for the other to call or show up. You and God are one and the same. We're all part of that web that is spirit. And that spirit that is the universe, that created and manifested the universe, but individualized little pieces of it. To be this rug, that camera, or you, anywhere along the way. So not only are you Abba for yourself, you're Abba for everybody else in the room, for every other thing in the world. You are that powerful. You are that great. You are that absolutely amazing. Don't ever forget it with anything that you do. You have the power of the blustery father in the 50s sitcoms. But you also have the power of the mother who knows that when bluster leaves the room, something's actually going to get done. The male-female aspects are a wild aspect of who we are. So even though you have the physical attributes of one gender or another, you have the totality of both within you. You can function with from either one or both together. It's a wonderful place to be. It's a wonderful wholeness to have. Never forget that. It's amazing what you can do. It's amazing what you can become, who you actually are. All you got to do is know who you are. Go, that's it. I can't be beaten. I mean, at the end of this month, I will celebrate 25 months of chemotherapy. A year ago, I was bald. They changed my chemicals last August. I have never in my life had wavy hair. I don't know what to do with it. I can't part. It was straight, and I can't. You can part straight stuff. You can't part this wavy stuff. But I'm not going to argue about it because I got it. You know, and that's the way life is. You have so much power over everything. I recently, a few months ago, I was on a blood thinner that I didn't want to be on. Well, I had an episode occurred within my body, and they took me off the blood. And they told me on the blood thinner I had to be on it the rest of my life. Nothing we can do about it. The blood thinner company says, once you start taking our blood thinner, you have to take it the rest of your life. Well, guess what? My body had a reaction. And that day, they took me off the blood thinner. Been off it ever since. Haven't had a problem since then. And now I keep seeing all of those commercials on TV that say, if you have ever taken Xarelto and you had an issue, call us. There could be money in it for you. Well, at this point, I'd just rather have them keep opening the door to the hotel room and let me have the free night, you know. Much rather have that. So, but the power is there. The Abba is you. The Imim is you. The power of everything is you. Because it's not just the individualized little teeny you. You are part and parcel of Spirit. You have all of the power of Spirit within you. Remember that whenever any challenge shows up, you have the power to change it. You have the power to change other people's lives as well as your own in every single moment. Don't forget who you are. You celebrate yourself on Father's Day. Celebrate yourself on Mother's Day. Celebrate yourself on every moment of every day.